Hey guys, it's LoLo with Grateful Gratitude. And once again, I am back in the new studio for me
Yes.
and a new permanent studio with my good friend Kim McCarty. And Kim, can you just talk a little bit about the studio here
Absolutely.
and how people can use it?
Yeah. So we decided after our good friend Mark passed and we didn't have a studio to go to anymore, we needed a place to record our podcast and invite our guests into the podcast studio. So we created a podcast studio. And in doing that, we kind of had a light bulb moment where it's like we should share this with other people and allow them to come in and record with either whatever their passion is or whatever their business is. Or I've had some girls just rent it out and they just talk about life, you know? So it is available for rent. And if people are interested, they're free to call me and we'll talk about what we can do to help them.
That's awesome. And it's perfect because it's small, it's intimate. And there were a lot of us that were in the same boat when Mark passed unexpectedly. But today, as you well know, you've been kind of following Grateful Gratitude this year. And I really wanted to talk about food insecurity.
Okay.
Primarily because Collin County is a pretty affluent area. And if you don't know Kim, she is a realtor.
Yeah.
So she knows a lot about that end. But I actually adopted 40 food insecure, low income senior citizens at a community here. And it was pretty devastating that we have a good portion of Collin County that is food insecure. That's the first thing. We would be surprised at that, I think. And one of the biggest things that I have found that just has blown me away day after day is that we have over 73,000 65 and older people that are food insecure.
Right.
And food insecure is not necessarily that they can't get food, like they don't have access to food, they can't afford food. But the thing that I didn't realize till I started working with the food pantries are these food boxes are so huge. And they can be anywhere from 40 to 80 to 100 pounds of food. And seniors can't carry that, so they opt not to go get that food.
Oh, okay.
And then I found that it's just devastating. A lot of these people get anywhere from $16 to $54 in food stamps, which is now the SNAP program. And I sat with one lady. Her income is $900 a month.
Wow.
And she gets $16, which I don't know how this is. I know there's a chart.
A month?
A month.
For food.
Food stamps.
Okay.
Yeah. So what that means is, as you and I know, that could be a meal at McDonald's, literally.
I mean, yeah, I was just thinking, what can you buy for a meal for $16?
Right. So I asked her, I said, you have to feed yourself on $16. What do you do? And she says, I watch for a sale for chicken thighs.
Okay.
I'll try and buy the biggest pack I can, and then I'll buy some rice and some bouillon cubes. And she said, I just boil that up, and she said, I just eat the same meal over and over.
Wow.
And, you know, Kim, I can't ever say that I truly knew what it was to be food insecure.
Mm-mm.
Even being a single mom, making $19,000 with Lexi Little, I mean, we always had a can of something in the pantry.
Right.
These people literally sometimes
have nothing.
Nothing. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit just because of the awareness.
Right.
So
let me ask you, like in our community, we have food pantries. Can they go to a food pantry and walk up and receive food? How does that work?
So most food pantries work through the North Texas Food Bank.
Okay.
So that means you have to qualify to get food. Mm-hmm. And what the qualification is, like if you're one person, you have to make about $2,200 a month or less.
Okay.
If you are a client that they consider would get an additional box of food a month, you have to make, I think it's $1,580 or less.
Okay.
To get food. And, you know, you start thinking of these seniors. This one lady in particular, she's diabetic and she has all kinds of food allergies. Mm-hmm. So we wipe out probably like 25 foods immediately she can't have. She's lactose intolerant. She can't have, you know, she's diabetic.
Yeah.
That limits her.
Right.
She's allergic to wheat. It's just so.
Well, and you think about like a food pantry, they're getting a lot of canned goods or items that are non-perishable because it's hard to keep things that are fresh. So she's probably not able to eat, like if she were to get a box, a whole lot of that stuff that comes in that box.
Exactly.
Things you don't think about.
Well, and the thing is, you get what's in the box.
You don't get to pick and choose.
No. Most of these food pantries are so high volume right now because we have a lot of people who can't afford the amount of groceries that they need. They may be able to buy some, but not to feed the whole family. So it's great that there are partnerships with a lot of like Kroger, Tom Thumb, Costco, Sam's. But a lot of times, and if you shop those places, if something's in bulk, you can't break it down.
Right.
Just because of the way it's packaged. So if they have one of those huge cans of corn or green beans that have been donated, they try to get that to a family that's a larger family, but it could very well, if they had a pallet of them, go to every single box.
Right.
So our church recently took over a food pantry, and they serve 5,000 people a month.
Wow.
And they have anywhere from 40 to 60 day worker or homeless walk up daily for food.
Okay.
That's a lot of food.
And they don't have to qualify. They can just walk up and receive food.
The day laborers and the homeless, they can.
Okay.
That is my understanding, but everybody else has to qualify.
Okay.
And what they'll do is, if you are not registered with North Texas Food Bank and have a food card, they will still give you a box that day and then have you register. And it may end up you don't qualify, but at least you got one box
That
free,
day,
right?
yeah.
So the pantries that I've worked with, 3 different ones, all kind of work a little different.
Okay.
Some will let you get food once a month. Some will let you get it twice a month, which I think Minnie's is once a month. Amazing Grace Food Pantry, who I've recently partnered with, will do twice a month. You can get food from them. And the local good pantry, which is my church pantry, they will let you get it weekly.
Okay.
So you can go to different places to get food every week if you need to.
Okay.
But then, of course, that entails, getting in the line, getting it home. But to me, that's like us going to the grocery store.
Right. So could they go, if they had the card, could they go to one food pantry with their card one day a month and then another 2 weeks go to a different one? Or is it just a one-time use a month per place?
And I can't tell you 100%, but I do think that, honestly, if you needed groceries monthly, you would go probably to one that does it monthly. If you only need it,
Okay.
Because I think like a senior box at some of these places, again, can be 60 pounds. That's a great amount of food.
Right.
So, me, I'm kind of a problem solver.
Right.
And if something weighs on my heart, like the lady with the $16, I feel like I have to do something.
Right.
So that's why I decided that twice a month I would supplement their food. I found that they weren't getting any kind of fresh produce, milk, or meat,
Right.
Because it's so expensive. Well, as a small nonprofit, I couldn't afford the dairy or the meat. And being a vegan was that was tough for me, but I would never limit someone else because of that. So I decided, hey, I've put a lot of money into feeding the homeless. And they've Hope Restored Mission has kind of had other people come alongside, and they have more food now. So I kind of shifted and said, this group of people, to me, are older adults. They're so wise. We can learn so much from them, that I wanted to do something for them. And so I did little themed type of gift bags for them. And the first one I did was, we called it Spaghetti Night.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And so they got a bag of, it was a 15-ounce jar of meat sauce, like spaghetti meat sauce.
Okay.
They got a pound of pasta to cook, green beans, fresh zucchini, fresh potatoes, fresh bread, a small apple pie, and there was one other thing in there. And it was really enough for an onion.
Okay.
And it was enough for him to have 3 or 4 meals.
Yeah.
And although it wasn't a lot, it was a supplemental type of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And who helped you raise that money to do that and buy that?
So I am so blessed with a lot of donors. And I think the blessing I have in my nonprofit is $5 makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because each of these bags I built for $5.
Okay.
And if you tell someone, hey, that's less than a latte,
Right.
would you mind sponsoring a bag? Most people would say, here's 20.
Yeah.
I'll do 4, whatever it is.
Right.
But it's great people like you who have seen my work over the last 6 years.
Right.
And people who believe or have stood with me at these events and see the food going or whatever the project is. And it happened to be that at my church, I go to Chase Oaks at 75 and Legacy, there was a meeting of different partnerships that they were going to do. And Grateful Gratitude's so small that a lot of people don't partner with me because of my impact, even though I think it's huge.
Right.
It's not compared to others. And what I found at that meeting was there was a tax credit apartment complex right behind our church. That there used to be some small groups that would do honeydew jobs, do activities and things, and that had gone away.
Okay.
They also, at the same time, they used to have $150 a month for activities that got cut to $25 a month.
Wow.
So I was talking to the resident who lived there and was reaching out to find someone to help really bridge the gap, just what I do. And I said, you know what, if you're down $125 a month, I can raise that. We can do activities. Because, as a business, there's so many times I'll come to you and say, Kim, I need 150 for a project. If you believe in the project, you're right there. And then we've just filled that gap so quick.
Right.
So that's why I, partnered with them, first of all. Then I started seeing when we did a Thanksgiving meal, how much people were eating and asking, do you have boxes we can take some with us? And I started asking about food situation, and that's when I started hearing. And I think out of the 10 or 15 people I talked to, $54 was the most they were getting in SNAP benefits.
Wow. Well, and I think you said today at lunch that does not include toilet paper and, toiletries at all. So they cannot buy toilet paper with their SNAP card.
That's my understanding. And even if you go to like Amazon Fresh and look, it'll say SNAP eligible.
Okay.
And so anything you see says SNAP eligible, they can buy with that. But there are things.
Everyday necessities that they cannot buy.
Yeah. Or particular, like I had this one lady with her $16. Her treat that if you wanted to buy her a birthday gift is caffeine-free Diet Coke.
Okay.
Okay, so I am doing, a feeding tomorrow, and I went and picked up some soda, knowing these people love sodas.
Right.
Do you know the price of a carton of soda?
Well, if you're getting like a 12-pack, it's probably like $8, $9. Yeah.
$9.99 on sale. It was $5 if you got 3 or more and mix and match. And I'm like, I always thought soda was like $2.99. I mean,
it's expensive.
But I don't drink soda.
Yeah.
So I can understand, number one, why this is a treat for her. But it really is very humbling because it sounds horrible, but I don't think there's anything I personally want for. I have food. I have a home. I have gas in my car. I have money in the bank. But I just, it's just eye-opening.
Yes. What all have you learned other than the food insecurity and the seniors, especially that are affected by that? What else have you learned that maybe people don't know about that we live right here in our community we aren't aware of?
So our last podcast, of course, I did and we posted was on the fentanyl poisonings. That's a really prevalent problem right now. The homelessness, I guess what I find more than anything in my ministry and my nonprofit when I talk to people is a lot of people tend to stereotype communities. And I come up against a lot of, it's aggravating for me because a lot of people say, well, homeless people, they're drunks and they're drug addicts.
Right.
That's where they should be. And, I think you've heard me talk many times, probably 75% of the people I work with are not.
Right.
They are single moms living in a car. Can you imagine being a single mom with 2 kids living in a car because you can afford a car payment but not a rent payment? She has 4 kids. She's in the process of going through a divorce. He made all the money. He's got the power of attorney. He lives in another state. She has the kids. They were all sleeping on the floor. I think I told you the littlest one, I think, is 4. He's sleeping in the closet. That's his private bedroom. And their normal is so different from my normal.
Right.
And all you want to do is just say, okay, I just want to bridge this gap because that gives you hope.
Right.
And it also lets you know, I believe
Right.
on who you are and where you can be.
Right. Right.
So I think that primarily where, I'll tell you another one was an Allen ISD school teacher. She wasn't making enough money to afford housing and everything. She was on her own. And she was living in her car. We should not have our teachers living in cars.
100% agree.
We have people that are domestic violence victims. And, the husband goes to jail, but they have the family members, log in and freeze the bank accounts and change the locks. And that woman and her kids just became homeless.
Right. Right.
So that's my thing, is maybe being, I'm much more aware now to watch what I say about a community because we don't know their walk.
Right. 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 I think I've learned a lot from you just in the last 6 years about your mission, and also just the things that you started with, like just the hearts. Like it just started so simply with the hearts, and that you would give those out, or then you would sell them and, then take that money, and how you've grown from literally a basket of hearts.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then now have taken it to a whole nother level. So I think you obviously have such a passion to help people, but you've brought a lot of people with you on your mission. And I think that's what's really cool, is that although I don't have the same platform that you have to do this, I get to help you on your platform. And a lot of people that you run with and hang with are helping you on that passion. So I kudos to you, but I know you don't want the kudos. I think what you have done, though, is help people understand there are situations that we can help. And if we are blessed, then step up and help somebody else. Right. For sure. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about the money. I mean, the money is important.
Right.
And, I'm the worst fundraiser in the world, and I hate to ask people for money. But I think this year I became very creative in how people can help.
Yep.
And,
well, just like you did the cans, I need cans of corn and chili. I'm like, well, I can do that,
Yeah.
So ran to the store and got corn and chili. You've asked for blankets during Christmas. You asked for blankets, and like Walmart was running them on sale, and they were like $2 or something crazy.
They were $3, and they went down to $1.50, and then they went down to 75 cents. And I'm just like buying them all, and my husband's like, do I need to get another cart? Because we're trying to grocery
for
shop.
75 cents, yes.
What? And a lot of times those small fleece blankets with the homeless become disposable because they get wet or they get dirty.
Right.
But there are churches that will pick those things up and they will wash them and recycle them. And, there's so many nonprofits that are just out there doing so good that people don't know about them because they aren't a big one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the thing, I recently took a class at my church, and it was called Repurposed, and it was 6 weeks. And the whole goal of that was to find 2 words that truly define your purpose in life.
Okay.
And it was a deep dive, and we went through, a lot of soul searching. And my 2 words came out was hope catalyst. And I just felt like I'm always in between a victim or someone in need and the resource.
Right.
That is my gift. And
Right.
you see that. And the thing is, too, if someone comes to me and says, I have such and such person that needs this,
Right.
they've qualified it. I don't have to go through the paperwork like the big ones. We
Right.
still record where our money goes and who we've helped. But it's like an on the spot, it's $70. Well, why would we even make somebody wait for that,
Right.
if they're in crisis?
Right.
And I think the biggest thing is, if you in your life have ever been in a crisis, you have anxiety, you worry about your family. If you have family, you worry about, what's the outcome going to be. And if you have to wait 2 or 3 weeks to even go into an agency to apply because they're so busy,
Right.
and then another 4 to 6 months to get help, especially counseling. You
Right.
can't, when you need help, you need help.
Right.
And I've been very blessed that that's kind of how God uses me. But um, I think that we all have been through particular walks in life for purpose.
Uh-huh. I agree.
And I think that God gives us a special gift. And I think that when you sit on this side of a nonprofit, you see so much more good than people who are just living life every day.
For sure, I can see that. Yeah. Well, I think that you're getting to see what your help is doing for somebody, and that's got to fill your bucket and make you feel good, but also say, okay, what more can I do? I can see that you're constantly like, okay, now what? Now what? And the people that are actually reaching out to you now and asking you, hey, can you come speak to these people about honestly something you had no knowledge of. They asked you to come speak to their moms and to their loved ones over fentanyl poisoning. You don't have any knowledge of that. You had no experience. But see, you didn't need experience. You didn't need that.
Right. And I think that it kind of shows how life is so intertwined, because that particular mom was in grief.
Right.
I ran into her at an event, and she didn't really want to share about her grief.
Right.
But I gave her the heart.
Right.
And the heart is it's a symbol of love.
Right.
They're heavy, so they're substantial, and they're not something someone would throw away. So then 4 months later, she said, we don't have grief knowledge. We don't do no grief support. Just come. And, we'll see where that goes. But it's very eye-opening to see how many people are struggling and struggling in silence.
Right.
And I think that's another thing about our community is we want everybody to think we have a perfect life.
Right.
And then
Facebook perfect life.
Yeah, and we could be sitting with it. As a matter of fact, we're sitting with a single mom now that, she's so sweet, but she's worried about, well, I don't have anything to offer for her to help me.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not what it's about, because we're all in this together.
Right.
And you may see the dirty side of how much I make, what debt, or whatever for that person. But I see the trauma and the hurt. So when we all come together as a team and spend a little bit of time with people, that's making a difference.
Absolutely. Yes.
So you very much are involved in what I do.
I am.
With
yes.
your expertise.
I get to be involved. Yes. Yes. And I appreciate that.
Well, I don't know. I think that I was pretty blown away moving to this area from a very rural, small town where I was making $19,000 and then jumped to a salary of $70,000. And then little did I realize it was going to be $2,000 to live. I landed in a zip code, my husband says, that probably wasn't meant for a single mom unless you were a millionaire.
100%. Yeah.
And so living over like at Lakeside in Plano.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I may be making more, but I'm sure going to be spending more.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
everything's relative, I guess.
It is all relative for sure. All right. So anything else that you want to tell people about your nonprofit or about how they can help you? Is there anything we can do?
Well, let me just quickly circle back to the creative ways that people can help,
Okay.
because I think that that's kind of eye-opening, is that, you could have a business and just have a small collection bag collecting deodorant for me or collecting toothpaste. So it could be that you just have that sitting there. You're really not doing much except engaging with your clients to say, hey, we're doing this, for low-income seniors that can't buy certain things on SNAP. Or you can just say, you know what, I'm going to just commit $20, $50, or $100 a month to grateful gratitude, because I've seen the work that I do.
Right.
And it just automatically, it's done and gone, and then you're good for me.
Right.
I have events like a Mother's Day tea or a men's breakfast that easily could be sponsored.
Okay.
And whether that means like you actually come in and flip the pancakes, like a guys group, or like, if Keith and some friends wanted to go do that, or our networking group, they could actually go in and engage with these seniors, make them, the breakfast, and just really, I'm talking maybe $150 investment.
Right.
Or of course, always a large check once a year is great for us. And
Right.
some people are able to do that and some aren't.
Okay.
So, and the last thing I always say is you can always be creative and say, here is my talent, or here is what I get lots of free. Can you use it?
Okay.
So being, like I said, a small one-person nonprofit,
Right.
my board's very easy. And
Yeah.
as long as Lolo's happy, the world's happy, right? No, but
Well, you gave me an idea because we're going to be doing an event at the end of the month for a shredding event where people can bring all of their documents that need to be securely shredded. Maybe what I can do is whatever you tell me you need, I can ask those people to bring it when they bring their documents to be shredded. Whether it's you need toilet paper or you need deodorant, whatever you need, tell me, and I will put that on my invitation that
That'd
is
be
going to
awesome.
be out sent out to 1,000 people. So who knows how many will show, but hey,
But
we'll
you know,
try.
you're like I am too, though. And I think, okay, well, if I just go buy $20 worth of chili and corn, that gets quite a bit, you
Right.
know. So sometimes,
Well, I got mine on sale. It was like 67 cents a can.
well, that's even better because I'm very frugal.
Yes.
And, you know, I have gone to a grocery store in Allen who is so kind that once every 2 weeks when I buy for my seniors, they will give me a 25% discount.
That's great.
And you just don't realize even $25 or that discount is huge for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, how many more meals could that be for somebody?
Well, 5 more bags for sure.
Right.
Like $5 a piece.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so thank you, Kim, for
Oh, well, thank
talking
you.
to me about that. And until next time, guys, just hit the subscribe button if you're interested in what we're talking about. I'm going to have Kim with me quite a bit,
Yes.
just because I love her studio and she's so fun and we've known each other for so long and we don't
Long
get
time.
to do this kind of stuff.
That's right. It's nice.
It's always business. So thanks again and we'll see you soon.